You're welcome back to Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis show. My guests, Kweko Bako, Dr. Odro, George Lowe, and Nana Komia. This show is brought to you by Bank of Africa, strong as a group and close as a partner, MTN. Welcome to the New World Star Assurance, creating smiles since 1985. White Temple Agency, a luxury you can afford. Ines Fly for a pest-free life, and Royal Lighting, walk in the light. And Bank of Africa, they are in the season of giving, and they're giving you a lot to be excited about. All you've got to do is to open an account with them, deposit 150 Ghana cedis, build up funds, and get rewarded at end of every month till the end of the promo, which is in January of 2017, 31st of January 2017. You will get it. There are no raffles, there are no draws, and what it means is that everyone wins. Fantastic prizes such as fridges, TVs, smartphones, laptops, etc. are up for grabs. Terms and conditions apply though. Now also, if you are using an internet that does not give you the speed that you require, and of course if you are not on the MTN 4G LTE, then that's the problem you are facing, and you need to switch and hop on to the MTN 4G LTE and enjoy a whopping 100% bonus when you bundle. To get started, you simply dial *585# to check if your device is 4G compatible. Then you visit any MTN service center near you with a valid ID card, and you will be hooked on. And you can say you are on a better internet experience, and that is Ghana's only 4G network, and enjoy it so you can say hello to the world. Make it happen quick. Everything you always wanted of insurance is online. So you buy, renew, and make your claims all in 3 easy steps. First, you log on to starassurance.com and follow the easy steps to get your insurance online. It's that easy and that quick and simple. Star E-Insurance, possible anywhere, anytime. Star Assurance, that is your solid partner. And also the ACAP compost fertilizer. That is the magic working fertilizer. It's an organic fertilizer made from pure organic materials, and you need one so that you can ensure that you do away with poor seasonal yields and post-harvest losses. ACAP compost fertilizer is available in all leading agro input dealers and distributors across the country. For inquiries, you can contact 026 40 781. White Temple Agencies Limited, that's where you get the latest technologically advanced, trendy and durable yet affordable stone-coated roofing tiles. Fair roof, that is a luxury that you can afford. What they are specializing is meeting your roofing taste. So all you got to do is to just submit to them your roof plan, and they will cater for it. You can find them at plot number 65, Derby Avenue, on the Children's Hospital Road adjacent to NHIS Building Arena, or their sales office branch at Old Wedger Barrier, Accra West. You can call 0302 673773, and they will meet your very need. And Royal Lighting Investment Limited is Ghana's finest lighting company. Your home is your palace. Let it look royal with lights from Royal Lighting Investment. They have in stock indoor, outdoor lights such as wall lights, ceiling lights, exquisite and antique chandeliers, whatever you want to talk about in the best of light, that's where to go. Visit their showroom at Bachuna off Spintex Road, previously Nick and Siloga building near Bachuna Total. You can call them on 0302 816310. Royal Lighting Investment Limited, your house of quality lights and accessories. Royal Lighting and Investment Limited, walk in the light. Now let's get to the two major issues that we are going to look at regarding the Ford expedition and the outcome of the investigations by SRAJ, and then subsequently we'll go to the matters regarding elections. But a few of your comments on the first issues that we have looked at. And then YKA Ansayebua says, I think we must tread cautiously when we chastise our national security agencies. The job can be very complicated with many twists and complex in nature. Normally, information released to the public from intelligence may not necessarily be what is gathered in detail. Security agencies have a very tough job in the 21st century. Many facets of intelligence gathering. The BNI, like all security agencies anywhere, cannot tell the public everything. It doesn't happen anywhere. We need to start trusting them a bit more as a country. Yet a lot of you are also sending a caution to the BNI and the way they operate. So yeah, that will be it. And then this one from Dr. Atu Edu, Evans, Georgia, in the USA. He says, every Ghanaian has the right to liberty, and subjecting people to arbitrary arrest or detention based on free expression should be devoid of selectivity and biases. The BNI should not deprive any citizen of his liberty except on such grounds and in accordance with procedure as established by law. Using the security and intelligence apparatus to suppress our people must be condemned with the force that it deserves. Ghanaians need a break. Dr. Ato Edu in Georgia in the United States of America. Now, sorry, but let's move on to the other issues that we have to look at. Now, on the matter of the Shraj investigations, let me quickly bring you a short clip of what led to all of these investigations.
Jibril Kanazwe paused my interview with him and seized the voice recorder. He accused me of trapping him to disclose information he would ordinarily not disclose. I was in Burkina Faso to investigate allegations that he used undue influence to win a contract. He defended the process through which he won the contract and justified the cost of the project. The Ghana Embassy fence wall in Burkina Faso was built around a piece of land that is yet to be developed. The land is about the size of a football pitch and is located at the ambassadorial enclave in Ouagadougou. Ghana's ambassador to Burkina Faso at the time of the project, Chief Dauda Mandiaya Baumia, said he wrote to Mr. Kanazwe and two other contractors to submit quotations for the project. Mr. Kanazwe explains how he won the contract.
Each institution have his way of managing his contracts matter. We got a letter from the embassy that a bid, and we have sent our quote. We replied to the bid, and we got the contract.
Was it advertised in newspapers or they wrote to you directly?
Oh, they wrote to us. It was not on newspaper.
A former chief executive officer of the Public Procurement Authority, Ajenim Boatinya, said a contract of this nature should have gone through competitive bidding.
Now, if you talk of a 650,000 or a 2 million contract or 2 million procurement, the law definitely requires that, one, you cannot use request for quotation because it's got a threshold of 20,000 and above. It could either be a national competitive tendering or international competitive tendering.
Attempts to get details of the contract from the Foreign Affairs Ministry yielded no results. The Public Procurement Authority, on the other hand, would not comment on whether the ministry sought approval or not. In the office of Mr. Kanazwe hangs a photograph of him and President John Mahama. Exactly a week before I went to meet him in Burkina Faso, President Mahama had commissioned the 46-kilometer Dodo Pepeso section of the Eastern Corridor Road, Mr. Kanazwe's latest project in Ghana.
I also want to take the opportunity to thank Meshes Umaru Kanazwe, Contractors Limited of Burkina Faso, for the very high quality of work they have done on this stretch of road. As I said, perhaps this is one of the best quality roads in Ghana today.
Joy News has evidence that Jibril Kanazwe sent a brand new Ford Expedition vehicle to President Mahama in 2012, the year he got the embassy fence wall contract and a 25.9 million euros road contract.
Right, so just a little peek into what led to all of these investigations. and I'm going to begin by first getting onto the phone lines and speaking to Professor Ken Atefa. He's Dean, Faculty of Law, Central University, and he's a former commissioner of SHRAJ. Was he deputy commissioner? He's a commissioner. That's what I said. A commissioner. Yeah. A commissioner of SHRAJ. And
no, I think it was deputy. No, I'm not sure. He headed. He said investigative or something.
Yeah. He'll tell us. He'll tell us the correct designation.
Because I also
yes, it's right. He was a head. He was not a commissioner, so to speak. He was a head of the investigations department or so. Hello, good morning. Thank you for joining us, Professor Ken Atefa.
Yes, thank you.
Great.
Good morning to your listeners and viewers.
Thank you very much. Great to have you on the line. And
grateful too.
Yeah. Professor Ken Atefa is one of those who looks up to my take every Saturday. Thank you. And tell us, first of all, remind us what you did at SHRAJ. What was your office again in SHRAJ?
In beginning January 1998, I worked full-time as the Director of Operations and Chief Investigator at the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice.
Okay.
And I think I later served as the founding director of the Anti-Corruption Department.
Okay.
Which had responsibility for investigating sundry allegations of corruption, misappropriation of public funds, and abuse of power, and the rest of them.
Right. We need you to assist us a bit in the procedure that you adopt in your work. What SHRAJ has done, it says in page 2 of the report that what it did was preliminary investigations, and that is what its decision is based on. And on the preliminary investigations, it comes to the conclusion that there is no need for further investigations. What is the procedure?
Well, thank you very much. I am not sure what all that creature, that new novel creature is. I think that the Commission is mandated by the Constitution and Act 456, its enabling statute, to investigate all instances of alleged corruption, malpractices, those kinds of things that are its core mandate with respect to anti-corruption, human rights, and administrative injustice. Now, in terms of procedure, I don't know what the current situation is. There has been an amendment of the CI, and I have not, studied it in detail. But I think that ultimately the duty is to investigate, and it does not matter whether you do a preliminary investigation first or you launch into a full-scale investigation outrightly.
Right.
The most important thing is that there must be an investigation. It must be thorough. It must be conclusive on the critical issues raised by the complaint or raised by the SHRAJ's own, investigation at its own initiative. Now, and so with respect to the instant case, my view is simply that if you do a preliminary investigation, it must lead you to that position in an investigative process where you conclude that a prima facie case has been raised, and that means that you need to move forward with it, or that a prima facie case has not been raised, and therefore that the complaint can be dismissed. Now, I understand that to mean that a prima facie case is raised where the facts assembled, if left unanswered by the respondent and is believed, or the facts are believed, will lead to an adverse finding against that respondent. That, in plain terms, is my understanding of a prima facie case, a situation where the facts assembled, if left unanswered and believed by the respondent, would lead inexorably to the conclusion that there has been a misconduct, or there has been a crime, or in this case there has been a conflict of interest, or in plain simple words, that the conduct, the impugned conduct, would be believed to have occurred.
Okay, so Prof, we need you to assist us step by step in this process. And the first step is the questioning of the establishment of a prima facie case. By my experience and many people as lawyers or even non-lawyers appearing before investigative bodies. For example, when I was lawyer in the matter that led to the removal of the Shraj boss, Loretta Lamte, the prima facie case that was done was based only on the documents assembled and put before the president and forwarded to the Chief Justice. It did not include those officers going out of their way to seek additional information to support or not to support the evidence that was before it. So it was documentary evidence put by both the claimant or the petitioner and the respondent. Is that the same thing that happens at Shraj?
That something is exactly my point. When I was at the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice with Mr. Emil Short, that was our standard, and that was also the standard and the procedure used at the Commission on Human Rights in British Columbia, Canada, where I was a commission member. It is the duty of the complainant to provide sufficient particulars that lead the decision maker at that preliminary stage to the conclusion that a prima facie case has been made. And that duty is met if in the complaint, if in the allegation that is made, there are sufficient specific allegations, particularized adequately, which enable the decision maker to say, it is more probable than not that something occurred that warrants an investigation, and which, if believed and left unanswered, will lead me, the decision maker, the trier of fact, to the conclusion that the impugned conduct occurred. Now, when you cross that bridge, then you invite the respondent to respond in writing. And when they do, you then, if you find an oral hearing warranted, you then conduct an oral hearing. Such was the procedure we used when Komla Dumont, the late Komla Dumont in his lifetime, filed a complaint against SNIT and against a number of other people, including Nana Kunedu Ajiman Rawlings and the rest of them, alleging that, a whole host of misconduct had occurred. And such was the procedure that was used in the case of the MP for Bondong, whose the investigation of which led to him being banned from public office for a number of years, and the DC for North South, I believe, and a whole host of them.
Okay.
The procedure was simply that the complaint must be taken out of the realm of conjecture. Once it is taken out of the realm of conjecture, that is, it is not based on speculation and suppositions and that sort of thing, and the commission believes that there is something palpable here to investigate. That threshold has been met, and then you go into a full-scale investigation.
Would you say then that
preliminary investigation is a creature that I have been hearing of, I think during the time of Miss Anna Bosman. But I think it is simply to determine whether a prima facie case has been made out. It is normally not the commission's duty to go out there, look at secondary sources before making that kind of determination.
So the commission may have been wrong here. Is that what you're suggesting?
I'm suggesting that if indeed that's what the commission did,
yes, that's what they did. The commission went out. Commission went out and spoke to a number of people who are connected to the allegations, in addition to the response submitted on behalf of the president, and then came to the conclusion that from the evidence they got from all of the investigations they had done, the case was a needless one and ought to be dismissed, and then they dismissed it.
That simply means that they have concluded investigations. I cannot see how that can be called preliminary investigations.
Okay.
That means that they made a prima facie determination after they received the detailed particulars from the complainants. And then when they went out to when they invited the respondent to respond, and they went to a field, they went on a field investigation and did the excavation of documentary and other evidence. They were doing full-scale investigation.
Okay.
Nothing preliminary about that.
Right. So forget about the nomenclature that they say this is preliminary, and yet they went into the details of it and made a conclusion. And tell us this. Is it possible and is it allowed in the procedure for you to go ahead, do all the investigations like they did? They visited the Flagstaff house to see the vehicle for themselves, spoke to the people who are in charge of the vehicle. They went to the GRA, Ghana Revenue Authority, spoke to the authority for explanations as to the duty that was charged and everything. They spoke to Mark Woyongo, the regional minister responsible for Upper East then, who transferred the vehicle from Bolgatanga to Accra, and all of these people, and then made the conclusion. Is it allowed or is not allowed to have made the conclusion without having, as you say, hearing the petitioners to cross-examine and test the evidence, so to speak?
Oh, I see. So what it means is that, if I understand you well, the petitioners were not invited to a hearing to examine, to question the documents and all the procedures.
No.
Wow. Well, I am a professional investigator, and I think if that's what happened, I am hesitant to give it much credence in terms of the conclusions reached. You see, it is also about the old principle that you and I know too well about natural justice, that you must hear the other side. When you invite the person to present documentary evidence to you or to provide you with further and better particulars, and you come across documentary evidence, oral evidence, or other pieces of evidence that challenge what was furnished you by the complainant, you are behooved. Duty calls on you to let the other side know what it is that you have assembled and to have a commentary on it, especially if you are calling it a preliminary investigation.
It must be said. It must be said that for one of the complainants, one of the petitioners, the only individual among them, they wrote to him and asked him for further and better particulars. And he replied, telling them that they were the state authority that have the power to get the documents and evidences, and so they should do that job because they felt that his petition was scanty. So in respect of his own, they asked him to supply further and better particulars. So again, please help us with a lot more clarity on this. For example, you have brought your case to them, and you say there was an attempt to underpay duty, and so the vehicle was declared as used vehicle. They go to the Ghana Revenue Authority, and they speak to the authority, and the authority says the vehicle is called used because the law requires that is what it should be called. Even though if it is a new vehicle and it's not brought into the country within 6 months of its manufacture, and this vehicle was brought into the country 2 years after its manufacture, so they called it used. So in that case, they have been able to show clearly that there was no any attempt to under declare and pay lesser money to the state. Is that not enough to conclude? They went to the Flagstaff house, met the one who had the vehicle from the 2nd of November and put it in the presidential pool. They spoke to this person, he showed them the vehicle and showed them the functions of the vehicle. And they convinced themselves that the vehicle indeed was brought in and put in the state's use. Is that not enough? Why should they invite the petitioners again and ask them any questions?
Well, very well. I mean, if that's the procedure they adopted, I'm out of country. I'm yet to actually read the full length of the decision. I've had snippets of it. But I think the most important thing is, ultimately, the complaint is that the president, in this case, violated Article 284 of the Constitution, that as a public officer, he placed himself in a position where his personal interest was likely to conflict with his public duty and in the performance of the functions of his office. Ultimately, that is what this complaint is all about.
That is so.
There has been a conflict of interest. Now, so if you go and you perform post-gift, investigations into how the gift was handled, you get into the realm of dealing with the conflict of interest situation. Conflict of interest occurs when that person places himself in a position where the conduct is likely to conflict or actually conflicts. And so when the event has already happened, and then you look at how did they respond to it when the gift was made to them. All of that is dealing with conflict of interest. And there are appropriate ways of dealing with it, placing it in a pool, paying duty, gifting it to a charity, doing all manner of things with it, even rejecting it after it has subsequently rejected it, even after it has initially been received, are all ways of dealing with conflict of interest.
They said so, and they said this is what the president did. So because he did that, it cured the imputation that he intended, or the accusation that he accepted it with the intention to influence his work.
The cure does not erase the blemish. The cure for conflict of interest, once it is like saying that if someone, and I don't suggest by any means that His Excellency the President has done the illustration I'm going to give.
Okay.
But if someone were to steal money, and then the person later gives the money to charity, or builds a school or homes, gives it to charity, that the person has cured his conscience. The person has cured, the mark. The mark remains, in my view, indelible. The fact is that there has been thievery. Stealing has occurred. But the person has...
Sorry, can you conclude on this note for me? Can you conclude on this note for us? Are you saying that for as long as Shraj found as a matter of fact that the president breached the gift policy, there ought to have been a further conclusion from that he was guilty of conflict of interest or potential conflict of interest?
Absolutely so. I think the moment you found that whole gift policy derives from Article 284 of the Constitution. The intendment is to constrain public officers from accepting gifts or placing themselves in a position where their conduct as public officers might be influenced by the personal relationships that develop out of the gift taking and gift giving and gift taking. And so, in this case, if the Shraj was able to find as a fact that His Excellency the President was in breach of the policy intendment, the intention behind the policy, it ought to have been braver, courageous to go to the next step and find that the conduct so found in infringement of the policy also constitutes an infringement of Article 284 of the Constitution. I have difficulty in seeing that contradiction not being palpably registered on the minds of the decision maker.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time.
You are most welcome, sir.
Great. So Professor Kenneth Tefa, he has worked with Shraj before, and in fact, he is a pioneering, he said he helped to found that wing, the investigative anti-corruption wing of the institution. And he says quite bluntly that his friends currently at the helm have erred so badly. Doc.
Thank you very much. I think I'm tempted to side with Professor Kenneth Tefa.
Have you read the report?
I have read the report twice. I have it here on my iPad. I've read the report twice. I want to believe that, you see, the investigative process, there are a lot of gray areas. Let me mention the first one. The people they spoke with. You read their reports and you don't get a sense whether or not they spoke with Kanazoe himself. They never spoke with him. They relied on secondary information on the basis of the tape Manasi made available.
But that's not secondary information.
Well, it's talk to the person.
They tell you that Manasi presented them with raw data.
Manasi
and they saw the exchanges between him and the contractor.
Manasi asked a specific question. But if you are investigating, you would also have a way of asking the question to get what you want.
Manasseh had exhausted their questions.
Not at all. In my view, if I were to be in their shoes doing the investigation, I would have asked further questions. Secondly, the ambassador, Baumia, was not also spoken to. Thirdly, the gentleman who paid for the duty, Wadrago, was not also spoken to. The second area I would attack their investigative approach is failure on their part.
No, sorry.
Yes.
Let's keep to the first point.
Okay.
What further question would you have asked? Is it Mohammed?
Yes.
Wadrago, the guy? Yes. What question would you have asked him?
No, Manasseh put the question whether you gave him a Ford, you gave the president a Ford, was it a bribe? And he said too much.
Okay, so you are now referring to Kanazoe. So what further question would you have asked?
I would then ask Kanazoe that look at the Papaso case, that contract. I was told that contract, the first bidding process was suspended because a particular bidder attempted to influence the process. Were you the one? That's the question I was going to put to him. And that, for me, they did not do. So how can you go around, talk to Honorable Woyongo, talk to Yunus Afuseni, talk to Sashimo, talk to Frank Niti, talk to the Commissioner GRA, talk to all these people, and then you left Wadrago out, you left Kanazoe out. For me, it's an area they should have delved more. Secondly, the Dodi Papasu case, you realize that it was also indicated in the report that the then Minister for Finance had to suspend it because he thought that a bidder had influenced the process. This, for me, is an important area they should have delved more, and then indicate it in their report that we delved more and we established that the bidder who influenced the process was not Kanazoe. Let me go to the next one. The next one is about the procurement process. And they admitted it in their report, but did not do further investigations. Selective tendering versus price quotation. The feedback given to them by AESL, or the position of AESL, was different from what the director at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs gave. So it was up to them as an investigative body to go down the line. And here I would give them credit. They said, though it was mentioned to them that it was selective tendering, they thought it was price quotation. But what they did not do as an investigative body at the analysis stage is to analyze the effect of a selective tendering and a price quotation on the investigations. That they did not do. The next bit about the vehicle, they went to the office of the president and they said somewhere along the line that at the various inspection phases, they saw the vehicle using different number plates. They inquired further and they said it is a normal security practice. Then they inquired further, they went to DVLA, and DVLA said, yes, we normally give the office of the president a number of plates, number plates, that the vehicles can use. What I was expecting them to have done and indicate in the report further is that we checked the various numbers we saw the vehicle using each time we inspected, and we realized that these numbers were within the range of numbers given to us by the DVLA. That was also missing. So when you look at all of this, I think that the information gathering process affected the analysis and it affected their conclusion. And along the line, they also missed the point. Looking at policy, looking at guideline, looking at law, then they concluded and telling us that the president has violated a gift policy, but he's not violated a law. And I wasn't surprised with that conclusion because the investigation, they could have done better. So the analysis was poor, they concluded like that. And then they hid behind the Constitution Review report.
To fault this extensive work as poor?
I'm not saying it is poor. I think they could have done better as an investigative body, and no lesser a person than His Excellency the President involved. I think they could have done better.
Kweku.
Well. We've always had this kind of experience. Anytime Shraj had dealt with very serious investigations, especially when they relate to public officers, especially high-profile ones. But
they seem to even refer to a case that you would have been involved in as a precedent for some of the things they did.
Yes, yes. I'm sure it was a Piampofu case.
Yeah.
Yes. The Crusading Guide lodged a complaint, and I was the lead complainant in that case. You see, the focus, and I'm happy that we are focusing on the report because that's where we are now, and the findings that are in the report. Preliminary investigations, as far as I know, has been a regular feature of SHRAJ's methodology.
Okay.
It happened in my case, in the Apia Mpofu case, it did happen. It happened in the Hotel Kufuor quote-unquote case. I brought the reports here. And it happened in the Bagbin case, which was dismissed for lack of prosecution because Bagbin could not offer much present. You remember I made a point here that I was happy it was going to SHRAJ because it took the discussion away from the street, quote unquote. Not that that's not important, it is important in the public domain. We need to talk, we need to debate, we need to argue. But when you want to resolve, then you go to an appropriate forum where focused investigations could be done. So I was happy 2 entities and an individual reported, petitioned SHRAJ. Now I've looked at the report. See, and I think Atefa made that point too. You, the complainant, when you go there, you must be prepared to assist and facilitate the process.
All right.
You must. You can't just put an allegation out there and expect the commission to go running around looking for it. And that you refer to the Adolfo. Okay? When he was asked to bring evidence to support his complaint, his response was, he says, and I'm quoting, in your response on 13 July to follow up, sent on 12 July 2016, the commission requested I provide evidence in relation to my complaint. The commission being the body licensed to investigate such issues would have an easy access to documents relevant to the case, which an ordinary citizen would not easily have access to. First of all, even the Supreme Court has indicated when it comes to the issues of conflict of interest and abuse of office, you must have an identifiable complainant lodging a formal complaint to trigger SHRAJ's jurisdiction. So here you are, a complainant, you lodge a complaint, you are invited to help, and you are telling the body that you are the one with the logistics and the mandate, so proceed to investigate. SHRAJ could have stopped there if he had been only him, because they would not have the legal basis to even proceed. Meanwhile, it's an important case to be investigated. So you see, there's a certain level of responsibility on those making complaints.
That's right.
Now,
in his case, I'll say that he's even lucky, because, for example, in the SHRAJ boss case, there were a number of petitions. All of them were thrown out because they didn't meet the threshold.
Interesting.
It was only that of my client which met the threshold.
Very interesting. I didn't even know that.
Right.
Interesting. It was the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it comes to the CPP. When they were asked, it says the Commission on Receipt, I'm reading from page 8. The Commission on Receipt of the complaint requested the CPP Youth League to clarify the capacity in which it presented the complaint, as well as to furnish any additional evidence it may have besides Joy News Story to assist the Commission with its preliminary investigations. In response, the CPP Youth League submitted a recording by Manasseh, together with a copy of a letter also contained in Manasseh's story, and stated it had a star witness in Manasseh. This is what they also presented. Right. It's insufficient, particularly if you realize that Manasseh himself was called as a witness. Is that appropriate tag to use?
He wasn't called as a witness. I went with him.
Yeah, but he was one of those interviewed. Let me put it appropriately, interviewee. It's here, it's listed here.
Yeah. But not exactly interviewed, so to speak.
And he gave out...
His job was simply to submit the product.
And a lot, from what I hear.
Yes, all of it.
All of video, audio, and things, which I think was important.
Yeah.
I think he served this nation.
Uncut, unedited.
Yes, he served the cause of the nation as well as SHRAJ very well in that respect. It goes more or less, makes the CPP one pale into insignificance if you are looking at what Manasseh presented. I'm not too clear why the PPP also submitted. So really...
They also submitted all the other documents that had been published by Manasseh.
All insufficient.
Okay.
When we did ours, we were subjected to the same street proof. The publications we had made were sent there. I was asked then to bring further and better particulars. we submitted some documents which Apia Ampofo challenged on basis that they were photocopies. But you see, they were photocopies indeed, but it's traceable to some sources. So then the Shraj proceeded to authenticate those sources.
They have power to subpoena for
yes,
those
so they
documents
did
we brought.
only and got the originals, and so things proceeded. So that's what happens. Now, if you read the report carefully, the Shraj exonerates the president on the basis of corruption, bribery, conflict of interest, and fraud.
That is so.
This is because some of the complainants listed these things as part of their case. Those were subjected to strict investigative processes. If I read the report, I side with the conclusions arrived at by the Shraj. Based on those charges or complaints that were put forward, the evidence that was provided, the cross-checking that they did, you cannot but arrive at the conclusions the Shraj arrived at. Unless somebody has something contrary to disprove what the Shraj has put out there, fine. And if it's there, let them bring it so that we can interrogate it.
It said that it arrived at those conclusions because there was the absence of direct evidence to the contrary. Because if you are alleging fraud, you know, fraud, the requirement of proof is very high.
And it was more related to the gentleman, the Sheikh Mohammed thing.
Right.
That because he brought the car in, took it through, he paid the 23,000 thing, and so it's as if somebody was using a cover in order to show that, in order to not to trace who really the thing was sent to. But if you look at the trajectory, if you look at the...
Professor Tefa, for example, is asking the question, together with other lawyers I've heard. The suggestion is that if you required that level of proof from these people, you ought to have given them the opportunity, like Doc suggested a while ago, to interrogate these people.
Oh, but it's the same thing I went through. I said, you see, when you are first asked to provide something of evidential value, something that will trigger the preliminary investigation. Now, if you are saying that your star witness is Manasseh, did you actually invite Manasseh to accompany you in order to give the evidence, which would have been what Manasseh anyway gave? Okay? That gentleman who said that they should
no, what they're trying to say is that you didn't even give us the opportunity to bring Manasseh.
Oh, please,
to tell the story and to cross-examine the other party.
You know, I have to be very frank with you. This same thing happened with Hotel Kufuor. When Gizel Yazi did not show up. When the findings and recommendations were put out, the argument was that the star witness, Gizel Yazi, was not, his entry was not facilitated, and so that report was bogus. Meanwhile, everything Gizel Yazi had said was on tape. If the Shraj eventually, and Ambosman then acting chairperson, gave her the opportunity that, look, okay, you can send even the things to us electronically, because this is preliminary investigations. If we proceeded with it and thought we had established a primary facie case, your physical presence then may be appropriate so that we can do interrogation. Even if it was security matter, then we can do it by electronic, the interrogation, the testimony that you were ready to put across. So please, my view is that the absence, and that's why I disagree with Doc, if I have to say so respectfully, that the gentleman, the Burkina, yes, I don't think his presence was very necessary. I don't think his presence takes away anything. What was he going to say? Indeed, the truth is that his testimony may have helped even the respondent, more or less. Yet I've heard people say that his absence rather is a loophole in the report. And so I insist in the same way they dealt with Gizel Yazi, you know, and I think that that's just not fair to the process. If you look at the extent, look, and it's true, they went to almost, just like Manasseh's story was a good story, which I indicated here. He took his time and went to, journalistically, it was not a court. He put all the facts. He went to almost every place. And that is what laid the basis for this extensive investigation. So as far as I'm concerned, to be honest with you, I think that the fourth one is the gift aspect. Cleared of bribery, cleared of conflict of interest, cleared of fraud. Of course, the gift one, they make a finding that, in my view, is adverse. They don't, of course, ask for sanctions, and they give reasons for that. That is an arguable thing. We can look at that and argue. I'm sure those who speak to the president will say that, look, he was not dealing with a man in an official capacity. So then putting that gift within that context cannot touch the conflict of interest principle.
They're dealing at the level of friendship.
Yes.
And that was emphasized.
He was not performing his official duties during which he got that gift. That may be the argument. The charge itself goes further, and I think Atifa hinted that it is how you resolve that situation. I've heard some lawyers say that, yes, he gave it to the state pool, fine, but that's not charity. Because in the SRAD guidelines, they use the word appropriate charity. And people are suggesting that there's an extension between appropriate charity and the state pool.
So you reject it or you give it to charity?
Yes, but not to the state pool. Well, clearly, the contractor was giving the thing to the president in a personal capacity, as a personal gift. It's obvious by all the evidence. But it appears the president, in utilizing it, did not see it as a personal thing, but handed it over to the state. I'll tell you honestly, and I said this long ago, in view of all what has happened, with the benefit of the hindsight and all these things, I'm sure the president will not put himself in that situation again.
Maybe that's the recommendation, why they made the recommendation that all presidents or ministers or MMDAs, they should be taking through a process of being educated on the conflict of interest scenarios. Okay, George, what do you also say about the outcome of Shiraji's investigation?
Well, I think that something like we are all saying, and like we could just finish saying, look, I think that Shiraj did a fair job of an investigation. Some way, somehow, they got embroidered in controversy by dealing with matters that were not even before them.
Such as?
The gift policy business. The people, listen, the people who went to Shiraj, they were talking about conflict of interest, they were talking about bribery, they were talking about, those are the things they...
All based on gifts.
Wait. All based on the fact that, yes, the fraud was given, and that in accepting, he was in a conflict of interest. Or that was given as a bribe. Or it was given so that they will use fraudulent means to defraud the state.
Let me be rude here, but the respondent, in his response, said this is a gift.
So it became an issue. I'll come there. I'm saying that it was not one of the issues they wanted Shiraj to speak to. Clearly. By law, it wasn't one of the things. Okay, as to why Shiraj should even come in law, we used to call it what? Obiter dicta. Why Shiraj should even come in and talk about gift policy or no gift policy? For me, I find it very strange. And I think that is what has landed us in this extensive discussion. Now, Gogo, you have made a point, and I agree with you entirely. Why? The man says the president is a personal friend. He even sent a high-level delegation to my father's funeral. My family were so impressed. Incidentally, we are distributors of Ford as a business line. So the family decided that, let's go and thank the man by giving him a gift. So I'm sure that maybe a family meeting or the informal discussion, they decided, why don't we give him one of the new cars that we have? I mean, I'm just going. So this thing is sent. It's facilitated through official means because he is the president of the state. Now, the thing gets to the president. And mind you, the president didn't even get it by normal way or people coming to do a presentation. It was sent and his minister tells him that, there's somebody from Burkina Faso who has sent you this. Then he says, really? Okay, let me call and thank him. And
call him for me. So
yes, that's what I'm saying. And the call was even done by the regional minister.
That is so.
Who had the president didn't have, incidentally, if you read, he didn't have the number, but so he called, he said, well, call him for me to say thank you. He called him and said, thank you. He comes to Accra and instructs that, add it to the state pool. He had two options. Because it was a personal gift, he had the option to say that, okay, go drive it and go and pack it in my house. But this one, he looks at it and says, maybe you add it to the pool of vehicles that we use. So the president does that. Which policy is against the receipt of personal gifts? So if tomorrow, something, the relationship you and I, please,
receipt of personal gift, they are bound.
Including
that of the president himself.
Listen, I'm saying,
but number one, the Shraj says,
let's put it in perspective.
No, can I?
I'm saying that let's put it in perspective.
You ask a question.
Yes,
which
but let me put it. No, let me. I'm saying that let me put it in perspective. Something. You see, when they talk about personal gift, if I am president and I travel or I visit a community and they give me a gift and give me a gift in my capacity as president, and they give it to me personally. The law says that if it's beyond a certain threshold, you don't keep it.
The code.
If you want to,
the law, I said the code.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can use these things interchangeably until we want to talk about hierarchy of laws. Until we want to talk about hierarchy of laws.
Well,
yes,
in this context, it's important.
It is important.
No. I'm saying that clearly. You see, and then when we do that translation, you see that it's totally different from you and I. You happen to be my brother-in-law by extension. So if tomorrow you become the Chief Justice and I say, oh, my brother-in-law is the Chief Justice, so I have, let me go and congratulate him by giving him one of my goats, right? So will that fall in that concept of personal gift? When at the time, we haven't discussed anything that has any leanings on
from what I understand. For example, this Chief Justice.
Yes.
If you were related to her and you did what you just suggested, yes, and a matter involving you came,
yes,
she'll stay out of it.
Well, so now, is there any evidence that a matter of Kanavue came before the president and he stayed in it?
Because they asked those questions.
Yes, and they've come out to say that no, it didn't happen. In any case, you see, let's be very careful. Look, all this noise that people are making, I'm in the center of it. People don't realize that. You remember the Burkina Faso war? I was the one who questioned that thing before public accounts.
Okay.
Go for the records. And I only told Bank of Ghana that, I'm not a contractor, but can you do some further investigation and find out the extent of the wall, the size and everything, the kind of wall, so that Ghanaians do not feel that anything untoward has happened. You understand?
And that wall was
at the center,
to cost us
yes, at the center of it,
650.
Yes, at the center.
Is it 50 million?
Yes,
US.
Yes, but further explanation. One, if you read the report, it says that look, when they contacted them, they said, look, they have allocated places to us and we are losing it. That may explain why they even went for restricted tendering and not go through the tender process.
Okay.
No, let me, and then you see, and there are several other things. If you read the report thoroughly, that not only did they say come and do the work, but they contacted AESL. They did all the proper things.
They were the consultants.
Yes, so that they make sure that they are getting some value for money. The president was not involved in any of these processes. When you come to the Dodi, if you've worked with UN, World Bank, they have the AU, they have their standards. You cannot beat it. If they have the shred of evidence that there is some influence, they will cancel the contract.
What was important for them in the EU, the Dodi-Pepeso Nkwanta Road, was that the EU itself, the EU ambassador, they had actually officially endorsed the project by saying they had no objections.
Yes, and I'm saying
to
that
the pricing and everything.
Clearly again.
So the president could not have influenced it.
It couldn't have done anything.
Okay.
The president, what you played for the president congratulating the contractor, go back and play and do a content analysis of most of the major roads. In this case, he said one of the best he's seen. But also, president keeps on going and even in recent times, he's even congratulated some of our local contractors for the wonderful work they are doing with this bitumen overlay. So these were just things that, look, these were just speeches that we write for the president on regular basis. So it's not as though president identified him and went out of his way. The president was reading a prepared speech. Okay? So let's put it in proper perspective.
So do you feel that in the circumstances,
yes,
Shraj should have gone beyond not allowing the petitioners to have the opportunity of testing the evidences that they went to, fetch?
Now,
by cross-examining these people
on
all.
What?
On,
you mean
on
that
the issues that came up?
The petitioners, there were three. One said, oh, Shraj, I don't have anything. You are a state of Ghana. Go and look for your own information. So what were they coming to test? 2, the second one says, oh, these are the things we have. Manasseh is our star witness. Manasseh comes and gives you the raw material, whatever he has, whatever information he has. What else are you coming to test? Clearly, what are they coming to test? The person who did the investigation. And mind you, you see, where I think we should look at more importantly is the fact that the information Manasseh had, he had that information when the guy was not even aware that he was being recorded. So these are not things he said with the knowledge that they were even being recorded. He should tell you the strength of the truth in that. But when he realized that he was being recorded, he became uncomfortable. But at least you have raw data where the man was not aware. And therefore, it's an information you put premium on. As for, I've heard Dr. Professor Atefa talk about the nature of the investigation. I don't think any 2 investigators will conduct an investigation in the same way.
Emil Shaw says this is problematic.
I am saying that, yes, for me, where I find is the conclusion they draw. Because they shouldn't have even delved in that area at all. It was inconsequential.
Which area?
This police gift policy.
They shouldn't.
They shouldn't, because
it was an issue.
Listen,
it was an issue.
It was an
in
issue.
fact, and it led to them. Wait, it led to them setting that up as the first issue. Now, the first issue. Wait. Page 32.
Yes.
The first issue they set up for determination was 1. Whether the acceptance of the Ford expedition vehicle by the president is respondent, but I'm using president for our audience, contravened existing gift policy under the Code of Conduct for Public Officers.
Good.
So it was a major issue.
Now,
it was a first.
Wait. 1, it wasn't an issue before that. But 2, I am saying that, okay, that code of, which one were they referring to?
The Shraj Code, which you are in Parliament now transforming into a law.
Have you read that code?
Yes, I have.
And it says that what?
I don't know which portion of it you want me to
It says that don't solicit for the gift or don't receive the gift as a public officer. And I'm saying that at the time this gift was not given to the president as a public officer. It's clear from the evidence. It's clear. Something. This is so clear, crystal clear, that I don't know which other conclusion anybody should arrive at.
Okay.
I'm saying that if the man had come to, the president had gone on a visit to Burkina Faso on an official, and he's been given a car by a business. And even this one, the man has made it clear in the recording that this is my family.
I think we get you now. You are saying that we get you now. You're saying that
so
you
really,
can be a public officer, but you can accept personal gifts.
I am saying
and that doesn't come into conflict at all.
I'm saying that. You see, what I'm pointing at is very clear. I'm saying, when I am coming to give you a gift, right?
I must say whether I'm giving to you as a public officer or as a friend.
In the course of your duty.
I have the bill here.
You see, in the course
I have it.
in the course of your duty. In the course of your duty, public office. Because other than that, if I give a gift to my father is a public officer.
Okay, hold on.
So you cannot
which portion do you want to read?
But the bill is a bill. It hasn't even been transferred.
Wait. You know why I'm saying he should read?
Yes.
I'm thinking he's going to read point 2.4 thereabouts. And it will tell you the position of a public officer and the accepting and not accepting. So that the differentiation you are bringing does not exist.
Oh, who says so?
It does not. According to the policy.
You read, even though it's a bill, you read.
Please go ahead.
No, even though it's a bill, the bill places emphasis an obligation on a public officer to check on the gifts. 23.1 is saying that where a gift, favor or advantage is offered to a public officer, public officer shall consider whether the gift, favor or advantage is in appreciation of an official duty or is intended to seek favor or any special treatment from the public officer in respect of the performance of the functions of that officer.
But you see, I'm saying that.
Wait. He's not finished. Wait.
Okay. The second one is that the acceptance of the gift will influence the discharge of an official duty or the performance of an official function in favor of the donor.
Yes.
The third one is there is an implied obligation to return the favor in an official capacity in favor to or in favor of the donor, the family of the donor, or associate of the donor, or the public officer's family or associate. The public officer is prepared to declare the gift and the source of the gift to the public officer's organization and its client and to the Ghana Revenue Authority. These are the provisions.
Yes, and I'm saying to you that, Samson, look at the provisions carefully. Unless, of course, by extension, we are making our own rules here, or we are making our own provision.
So can we hear your point is made. I
so
think your distinction has been made.
The distinction is clear.
That you're a public officer doesn't mean you cannot accept gifts in your private personal capacity.
Yes, but even then, the president, even then, as though the president was
sorry, but we have to move on. Sorry.
No, but let me just make one line, please. I beg you, one line. The president, in his wisdom, even decided that even though it was a private gift,
this you said
declare it. Declare it, and also give it.
Yes, thank you.
Nana, so what else does anybody have to
Nana, let's hear what you have to say about all of this.
Well, thank you, Samson. The president's action is shocking. It's clearly a violation of all the applicable laws, including the Constitution of Ghana, the Code of Ethics and provisions on conflict of interest and abuse of office.
It's a completely different verdict.
All of them have been violated by the president. And clearly the president engaged in bribery, in accepting bribes.
Wow.
There is no other conclusion on this matter. And so this work that the SHRAC has done is shoddy work. It will go down in history as one of the most shoddy work done by any public investigator. Because the facts of the matter are clear and rational and logical and make common sense to come to that conclusion. Samson, the president of the country, the first public official of the land, receives gifts from a person who is in a contractual relationship with the government. Simple.
A friend.
It could be your friend, it could be your classmate, it could be anybody. You receive a gift from a person who is in a contractual relationship with the government of Ghana. What is it? What is it?
Gift.
A gift is a gift. When does it become not a gift? It is the circumstances. And those circumstances in which a gift does not become a gift but a bribe, those circumstances are defined by the National Constitution of Ghana. They are defined by the president's own code of ethics issued to his appointees. They are defined by the SHRAC's own code of ethics, the Public Services Commission on conflict of interest and abuse of office.
The president codes, the SHRAC code is what you may refer to as soft law. They don't have any binding effect on anybody.
Well,
that's what SHRAC has said.
They don't have the binding effect. Has the president received a bribe or not? That is the issue. That really is the issue. Now, look at the case, the raw bare facts of the case. The gentleman who gave the card to the president, when he was engaged by your reporter, at one point, when he realized that his admission that he had given a gift to the president could have dire implications, he at that point accosted your reporter and attempted to destroy the information he had given. Why would he want to do that? Why would he want to do that? You have told somebody that, oh yes, this is the situation. Now, after telling him that, why then did you seek to retrieve the information and destroy it?
That answers you. He says because it was unethical.
What was unethical?
The process of recording him without his permission.
You should let them know that you are recording this interview.
Okay, so hold on there.
It's unprofessional.
Please, don't beat me up in the studio.
No, I'm telling you. I'm not beating you up. Everybody is here.
Continue.
Samson Ayenini. The video clip that you showed us, you could see Manasseh clearly holding the recorder. No, if you didn't see, I saw it. I could see Manasseh clearly holding the recorder and recording. So please, don't beat me up on this matter.
Nobody is.
Now,
you are just.
So that is the first part. Now, the man sends the gift to the president, supposed to be a gift. These officials or appointees of the president, the ambassador to Burkina Faso, the regional minister for Upper East, they then proceed to prepare official documents that will allow this so-called gift to come into the country without speaking to the president, who is supposed to be the recipient. The ambassador in Burkina Faso, who is an appointee, and the regional minister for Upper East. Somebody comes and says, I'm going to go and give this gift to the president. Without any reference to the president, they then go and prepare official documents to allow the vehicle in. It's strange. Oh. Then the vehicle comes into the country. The president tells us that he didn't know that there was even a vehicle that had been sent to him as a gift because he was on campaign. And when he got back to Accra, when he got to Upper East, then he was informed by the minister that, oh, somebody said he wanted to give you a car, so we've sent a car to Accra. And so when the president got to Accra, he was told about it, and he asked that the vehicle be given to the state, and that on November 2nd, the vehicle was put into the presidential pool. November 2nd, 2012. But the objective fact that is also in the public domain, that has also been corroborated by the commissioner for SHRAG, that the commissioner for customs, who was spoken to, show clearly that the vehicle that was supposed to have been given to the state on 2nd November 2012, in February, 13th day of February 2013, that vehicle that has been given to the state was taken out of the state pool and taken to Tema Port and declared for custom purposes, and a duty of 23,600.
That date, is it in the report somewhere? It confuses my mind. Let's search for it whilst you talk.
The date
of February.
13 February 2013. The vehicle is supposed to have been put into the pool on November 2nd,
that's right.
2012.
Right.
So who then takes the vehicle out of the pool 3 months after and goes to declare it at Tema Port and pay a duty? The assessment is made of the vehicle, and a duty of 23,646
right about that.
is paid.
Yes, you're right about that. On the 13th of February, you're right about that. Yes.
And the fact of the matter is that the commissioner for customs had said clearly that yes, the vehicle was brought to customs and assessment made and duty was paid. That's one. 2, the gentleman who's in charge of the presidential pool says that cars in the pool are not declared for custom purposes as regular cars. This is all in the SHRAG report. So, if we are to believe the report and the president, we have to ask the question. You didn't know about it. So your appointees acted on their own discretion. And then when you got to know about it, you asked that it be given to the state. And then when it was put into the state pool on November 2nd, 2012, somebody went and took it out of the state's pool and went to declare it at Tema Port and paid duty. How can this happen?
Why can't it?
Now, we are told that the gift was given to the president because he was his friend. The man met the president in circumstances where he was looking for a job from the government of Ghana. That was the circumstance in which he met the president. He was looking for a contract. Subsequently, after meeting the president, he was awarded contracts, okay, which in itself may be of no moment. But when it comes out that this gentleman, in fact, one of the contracts came under query from the Auditor General
The
of Ghana.
evidence shows that all the contracts, the fence wall contracts, the Dodi Pepeso contracts, were all gone through a process that the president had absolutely no connection with.
That evidence is the evidence that has been provided by the president. Okay? Isn't it? But what we are talking about is the circumstances. Because it's not what you're a lawyer, I'm not. But when you go to court, what you say is important, but the judge evaluates the case based on the circumstances. Now I'm saying that, and everybody would agree, that when you take a gift...
at least to start with. So it cannot be
you will not agree on this program, but you agree.
No, I don't agree, it cannot be.
But something, the basic fact of the matter is that when you take such a gift from a person who is in a contractual relationship with the government, you have engaged in receiving inappropriately a gift, you have engaged in conflict of interest, you have abused your office, and you have taken a bribe. Look, the president's own code of ethics to his own appointees, he tells them that you ministers and political appointees, you should not accept gifts that exceed $50. You should not accept gifts that exceed $50. That's what he's told his appointees. Why is he telling them this? He's also gone ahead and told his appointees in his own code of ethics for ministers and political appointees, issued in 2013, that
it's important you stress that. Issued in 2013.
The President Mahama Code of Ethics for Ministers also states, among other things, a conflict of interest may arise if a minister's family or personal friends might derive or be perceived as deriving some personal financial benefits from the decisions or actions. Okay? So if the people are your friends and you are, they are perceived to be getting some personal benefit, it may seem as a conflict of interest. He then goes on to say that to avoid the creation or appearance of an obligation, gifts in cash or kind are not to be solicited or accepted from a commercial enterprise. This is what the president has told his own appointees. His own advisor, Mr. Batidam, on corruption and governance, he was asked that you are the advisor to the president. If the president came to you and said, look, there's this contractor who is doing business with the government. He has offered me a gift of $100,000. Do you think I should take it? When Batidam was asked this question, this is what he said. He said, I am sure you know that these are situations that will not occur under the president that we have. To Mr. Batidam, the possibility of the president accepting a $100,000 gift from a contractor will not even arise. This is the advisor to the president, okay? And then he goes on, the same Mr. Batidam, who's the advisor to the president. He goes on to say that if there are grounds to believe, or it is common knowledge, that the person bringing the gift has an interest that could have motivated the gift in the first place, then it is obvious that the receiver, whether he be the public servant or the president, should exercise better judgment and say, I cannot take this gift. And then Batidam goes on to say that the gift to the president by a contractor qualifies as a conflict of interest situation. The gift.
Batidam, he's not a judge.
Well,
he's not Shraj.
Well, okay, now Batidam and Mr. Short have said that gifts and conflict of interest are a form of corruption. Now, when you go to the Constitution of Ghana, it tells you 284. I think we've talked about 284, which says that if you're a public official, you should not put yourself in a position where your personal interest conflicts, or is likely to conflict. Now, the circumstance where a public official goes ahead to accept an expensive gift from a member of the public who is in a contractual relationship with that public service, how else can you describe it?
They tell you, Shraj tells you that because of the way the president treated the gift, a gift that he had no knowledge of prior to it being offered. But when it came to his knowledge, the steps he took are steps that are also provided for in the code regarding prohibited gifts. That they say, yes, he breached the code by accepting the gift because it's a prohibited gift. But after he got to know about it, the use to which he put it, they say, cured the actual conflict or the intention or the probability or potential conflict. Because he was also not involved in all the processes.
That is what the president has told Shraj. But what are the objective facts on the ground? The objective facts on the ground, as I've said to you already, is that when the president is supposed to have given the order that the gifts be turned over to the state, subsequently, that same state property was taken and to Temaport to be declared and duty paid. Okay. This is also the objective facts on the ground.
Thank you. I'd like to conclude here. We take a break and return to deal with election matters. But Kweku, hold on. But Kweku, the issue about the duty paid on the vehicle, you would realize that initially the questions that the minority and the opposition were raising about this 23,000 cedis duty, they were saying that because the car had been taken to the port and had been declared as used, a used car.
Not
that was
second-hand.
Yes.
Not the same as second-hand.
That it was deliberate to pay a lesser duty. The port authorities have explained that what they call a used car is a car that has been brought into the country 6 months after the manufacture. And this car had been manufactured in 2010 and it entered Ghana on the 29th of October 2012. So they had to call it used car. It was not for the purpose of deceiving or outwitting the system.
I don't know much about cars. Those who know me well will tell you that when it comes to cars, those things, I'm absolutely very bankrupt. But I've read the explanation given by the Commissioner for Revenue.
Which is the law that they operate with.
And I'm convinced that's the law because they quoted sections of the law. And so I'm not in a position to dispute that. I accept that unless somebody can come and tell me that one, though is the law, that's not a practice, and that what was done is in conflict with the law.
How do you answer then that they say this gift came through Bolga to Accra, and yet you have somebody fronting at the Tema port as the importer?
Yeah, that's how he was described, importer owner at that material moment,
right,
bringing this gift to the president as a personal gift. That's how it was. That's the trajectory.
It had been questioned as something which is
this
is also ugly.
See, well,
hold on, wait.
I remember the first time I commented on the port angle. I used the word untidy. That's what I described it to be. This is months ago, and I still think it's untidy, and that may raise suspicions. But a multitude of suspicions or suspicious circumstances do not constitute evidence, as far as I'm concerned. And before the organized body, this thing has been subjected to interrogation. You see, really, what is happening, and I take a Komia's drift, is nothing new. Anytime Shraj deals with issues like this, the reaction, especially from the political circles, is predictable.
Okay, thank you.
No,
George, hold on. I want to end on with you. Maybe 30 seconds. Conclude, yeah.
In 2004, when Shraj finished with the Babin thing, there's a headline here. Network Herald, Shraj is a failure. Duajao. And it was because they also pieced together what they claimed to be circumstances that appeared suspicious. Same with the Gizel Yazi thing. They pieced together circumstances that Charles Sam had said something to the effect that President Kufuor told his son to buy the thing. You know, the lady too said so and so and so. So they put all together, in spite of the fact that the Shraj interrogated all those issues and came to the finding that these things are not substantial or are not evidential.
Okay,
matter,
sorry.
The Shraj did not interrogate why a car placed into the arms of the state will be taken
the bill
out
of entry dated. Yeah, but I'm saying that does not show
that
it was a bribe, it was fraud, or
let me finish.
Conflict of
let me finish with George. Let me finish with George.
How do you explain
the
situation?
You can demand an explanation.
That's no explanation.
That's legitimate.
Thank you. Now, George, here.
Yes.
Here. The reason Shraj dismissed most of the issues, 13 issues were set for determination. Only one passed, which is the first issue, whether the gift was in breach of the code. That one, the answer was in the affirmative. All the other 12, they said, you find the refrain is in the absence of direct evidence to the contrary. And you hear them also suggest, and they actually go to say, they point us to the famous Jacobe Chebelamtena Okudzeto Ablakwa cases. And they said that in those cases, in that case, the Supreme Court was clear about the fact that you don't just make the allegations, you must go beyond the allegations and adduce proof as a lawyer, how do you adduce proof? Do you think the people were given the opportunity to adduce proof, the petitioners in this case?
I think that clearly they were given the opportunity. And they said, I mean, by their conduct, it was clear that they didn't have any further proof than what they have put in there. And that they said their star witness was Manasseh, who was invited, and he brought all the information that he had at his disposal. So clearly they were giving proof. But let me come to something that Nana is talking about. Let me tell you, there is...
Because he didn't get to that stage.
Listen, there is a misunderstanding.
Kreku raises the issue right now. He says no panel hearing was adopted because they didn't find it necessary.
Because
and they say
if
so.
you do panel hearing when you establish prima facie case to proceed further.
Right. Yeah. In your estimation, prima facie case is not established here. That's why there's no hearing.
There's nothing. I mean,
they make a conclusion that they make a conclusion on one of the issues.
And I'm saying
he's guilty of an issue.
I'm saying that even that matter. Listen, I'm saying that matter that they are talking about to start with was not part of the matter before.
It was.
No, it was.
It was.
I disagree.
It's so the petitioners raised it and they did it.
Please.
It was. Please read the report.
I've read the report. I've read the report. I'm saying
it was.
They didn't say, the petitioners didn't say whether the president, the gift that the president took was against the gift policy.
They did.
No.
Please go over.
Yeah, I've read.
Okay,
listen,
so
secondly,
last issue. Look at this.
Yes.
Look at this. They went to the presidency. They examined the vehicle, and they went alone. In your practice as a lawyer, we know the standard must accord with what is general.
Yes.
When you are going to the locus, do you go alone? Can the judge go there alone and do the examination?
No.
But let me ask you a question.
No.
What normally
the judge was not doing
in a court.
No,
the judge
I am saying that in a court you are talking about a different procedure.
No, it's not different procedure.
Please. We are talking about
rules of evidence are the same.
We are talking about Shraj doing an investigation.
Okay.
When a police officer is doing an investigation, does he carry the people along with him going to do his investigation?
Okay.
They want investigation to establish a prima facie case.
Okay.
Which they didn't find.
Okay.
Bingo. But I'm saying that with national security operations, for somebody to conjecture that somebody else cannot go and register a vehicle on behalf of the state because the vehicle was supposed to be, it's there. It happens on daily basis.
Thank you very much.
All that they are doing is what Kwaku said.
We'll take a break here. When we return, we will deal with the matters of elections. We'll be right back.